All right, welcome. Welcome to the PHL Pre-K application session for new providers. I'm Carrie Lee, the PHL Pre-K Contracts Manager at PHMC. Helping me lead you through this presentation today is Theo Margulies and Brittany Maines, our contracts coordinators. And then you'll also hear from representatives from the Office of Children and Families and the Spark Quality Support Center. We'd like to take a moment to make subtitles available for those who want to view them in English, Spanish, or another language. So we're sending an invitation to everyone in the meeting to be able to do so. You're going to see the invitation pop up. Looks like that little block box on the left-hand side. You can click open if you'd like to see subtitles. Then you would select your language. If you don't want to see any subtitles, you can just click ignore. Okay, in this session, we'll share information about applications for the 2024-2025 program year. Before we get started, please make sure your audio is muted. If you have any questions, you can enter them in the chat box. We'll have breaks along the way to be able to answer as many as we can. All application materials can be found on the PHL Pre-K website. I'll drop that link in the chat here. They are live now. We will show you in just a minute the website and how to get to the materials as well. Information in this session will be sent out, the slides and the recordings, and will be posted on the OCF website as well. For our agenda today, we'll review the application process and discuss performance expectations. We'll talk through how to complete the application, provide tips, and demo the online application. We'll save time for questions along the way, so be sure to type them in the chat box. And next, you'll hear from Brittany Edie at the Office of Children and Families.
Good afternoon. Thank you, Carrie. Good afternoon, everyone. My apologies for being off camera. My name is Brittany Edie, and I'm the PHL Pre-K Provider Engagement Coordinator here at the Office of Children and Families with the City of Philadelphia. Here's a little bit of PHL Pre-K history. Our program launched in January 2017 and is funded by the Philadelphia Beverage Tax. We started free pre-K to 2,000 students at 89 locations across the city. We are now currently serving 5,250 students at 220 locations. We offer 5.5 hours of daily education for 180 days over 10 months. And since the program's inception, we have participated with 13,000 students and families. Our mission is to increase access to quality early learning by offering free pre-kindergarten programs to children, regardless of their family's income. Our commitments are as follows: increasing center quality and providing instructional resources, offering health resources and conducting developmental screenings, supporting staff growth and development, promoting kindergarten registration and transition activities. This year, we've added 950 new seats at 51 new locations, placing 237 new seats in priority neighborhoods. The anticipated seat expansion for FY 24 and 25 is yet to be determined. However, we are seeking applications for qualified providers seeking seats. High quality seats is the commitment of the PHL Pre-K program, and 94% of our seats are in a system located in a star 3 or 4 rated program. Children's and families in PHL Pre-K, 80% of children identify as non-white, 70+% are below 200% of the federal poverty level, 15% speak a language other than English at home. We operate in 43 zip codes and 62 locations with approximately 1,411 seats in priority neighborhoods. Here's our administrative team. PHMC is our administrative intermediary. Spark is the Quality Support Center, and we are also partnered with the School District of Philadelphia. Thank you, Carrie.
Thanks, Brittany. So as Brittany just mentioned, PHMC is the administrative intermediary. Some of the roles we play include the administration of contract with providers. We're responsible for issuing notice of awards, contracting directly with providers, and allocating slots. PHMC is responsible for enrollment oversight, meaning that we approve enrollments, verify enrollments, as well as monitor enrollment targets. We disperse the flow of funds to PHLprek providers and oversee monthly invoicing. We're responsible for data collection, management, and analysis, meaning that we collect the data from the system, we review it, and then we also look at trends to determine supports and how we can move forward in supporting PHLprek providers. We support all fiscal reporting requirements and help providers meet contract deliverables. The intermediary also has strategic partnership responsibilities, meaning that we're very intentional about collaborating with partners within the PHLprek system, such as OCF and Spark, as well as organizations outside of the PHLprek system to ensure that we're providing the best supports we can. And finally, program reporting. We're responsible for the collection of program and child level data and reporting out on outcomes for the PHLprek system. And now you'll hear from Aaliyah from the Spark Quality Support Center.
Thank you, Carrie, and good afternoon, everyone. So the Spark Quality Support Center is responsible for delivering to you high-quality support services directly to providers participating in the City of Philadelphia's Philly Pre-K program. I'll start off talking about our specialists. Our specialists at Spark are content experts in a variety of fields like early childhood education, business, family and community engagement, health, and equity and inclusion. Our Spark coaches support providers to the level of their choosing. We offer one-on-one coaching, provide assessments, and can also act as a concierge to guide providers to the resources that they need. Currently, the biggest sellers for our coaches are unboxing the creative curriculum and supporting our providers with classroom arrangement. Our Knowledge Center is available online and serves as an online library containing key information, on-demand training, and resources. Our help desk provides guidance and resources for specific needs. Our help desk and chat feature are available during our regular business hours. Providers simply share the resources they are looking for, and the help desk will guide you to all available resources most closely aligned with that need. That could include content from the Knowledge Center, professional development trainings, peer learning circles, or community of practices. And lastly, the events calendar. The events calendar is housed inside of our Knowledge Center, and it is where providers will find Spark's schedule of professional development trainings, peer learning circles, and communities of practice, which are live trainings. These trainings can be in person or virtual, so it is your choice. The events calendar is available on the website 24/7 for providers to access these opportunities. Thank you so much, Carrie.
Thanks, Aaliyah. So as a reminder, we are recording this session. We will send out materials, including the slides and the recording, after this session to all folks that are registered. Okay, so now we'll provide an overview of the application process. Application materials can be found on the PHLprek website, as we mentioned previously. I can drop that in the chat again as well in just 1 minute. So this is the PHLprek website for the provider application page. You can scroll down a little bit. You'll see the deadline, January 22nd at noon. This website gives information about the 2 versions of the applications that are available, one for renewals and one for the request for application for new providers, which we're discussing today. Scroll down a little bit, you'll see information about the application information sessions. That's where the slides and the recordings will be posted as well. So if you don't get an email, be sure to check the website. If you go down a little bit more, you can, the review under how to apply, under review application materials, we have an English and Spanish version. This is where we'll be sharing all the information that we'll be sharing today. You can take a look at that. At the end, the last page has a link to all the questions that will be asked in the new provider application. So if you'd like to read that beforehand, before going into the web platform and gather all the information that you need, that link again is on that last page. To get to the web platform, you can go to under submit an application in the web platform, that little box there under request for qualifications for new providers, you can choose on the English or Spanish version. Okay, so now we'll talk through the timeline of the application process. Be sure to mark your calendars for these dates and check the website for any updates. Again, the PHLprek application is live. Let me drop that in the chat again right here. Application information sessions began yesterday. There's one more new provider application session tomorrow, and those are our live sessions. The deadline to submit any application questions or requests for language access supports is next Tuesday, December 12th. Any questions that we get through these application information sessions or we get through the PHLprek inbox, we'll answer them, put them all into one document, and then post that on the PHLprek website by the end of December. The deadline to submit the actual application in the web platform is January 22nd at noon. You need to submit in the web platform and you will not be able to submit after the deadline. These dates are estimates only, and PHMC reserves the right to change the schedule. Any notice of changes in dates will be posted on the PHLprek website, so be sure to check back there. PHMC also reserves the right to request further written information and to conduct site visits or interviews after applications have been submitted. Okay, so PHMC is releasing this application on behalf of the city to fund quality pre-K slots in September 2024. The city's vision is to provide over 5,500 seats by the next program year and develop an integrated system of accessible early learning services for Philadelphia families. If awarded a PHLprek contract, PHLprek provides a minimum of 5.5 hours of instructional time each day, 180 days of service from September 2024 to June 2025. Reimbursement at $10,000 per approved slot annually, and monthly payments at $1,000 per approved child. Providers are encouraged to combine PHLprek funding with Childcare Works, and you may not charge additional fees for PHLprek funded hours. PHLprek is open to all 3- and 4-year-olds who live in Philadelphia and who are not already receiving preschool services. And the goal is really of PHLprek is to create new preschool seats. Children must be 3 on or before September 1st, 2024, and be younger than kindergarten entry age. PHLprek's focus is to encourage enrollment of children not already receiving preschool services in areas with high poverty, a large presence of children at risk for poor health and educational outcomes, and a shortage of early learning opportunities. We also encourage enrollment for children from families experiencing homelessness, English language learners, and children with special needs. Okay, now I will pass it to Brittany Maines, who will take you through eligibility criteria.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Carrie. My name is Brittany, and I'm one of the PHLprek contract coordinators. And like Carrie said, I'll be discussing application eligibility throughout the next couple of slides. Providers will be eligible to apply for long as they meet the following new provider criteria. Eligibility for criteria for new providers. This RFQ application is intended to develop a pool of providers for slot awards to help support program expansion and/or the redistribution of existing contracts. Only responses to this application will be eligible to contract with the intermediary and receive city funds for pre-K during fiscal year 2025. It is anticipated that a request for applications for program expansion will occur in future years as well. Funding for all expansions and renewals is contingent upon the availability of appropriations. General requirements. Providers need to be licensed and in full compliance with the Department of Human Services or Pennsylvania Department of Education. Providers should also be quality community-based childcare programs that operate in the city of Philadelphia. This includes centers, groups, and family childcare, school district, and Head Start sites as well. PA-DHS compliance will be reviewed for all applicants. Providers with an active DHS negative sanction at the point of submission will be reviewed. However, all issues will need to be resolved prior to contracting. No contracts will be issued to providers with a negative sanction. History of noncompliance will be factored into the application review process as well. Providers not licensed through the PDE or DHS, but licensed through an Octal alternative pathways to STARS may also apply, but you must have a STARS designation. Providers wishing to move PHL pre-K operations from a currently funded location to a new location or wish to apply for a location that is not funded in FY24 will also be required to fill out the RFQ new providers application. STAR level. Providers with STARS 3 and 4 programs are eligible to apply. Providers with STAR 1 and STAR 2 programs are eligible to apply. However, they must demonstrate commitment to moving up in STARS and are expected to achieve STAR 3 within a required timeline. For new providers, you'll need to submit a STAR 3 waiver and an action plan upon your notice of award. The ELRC would like to also note that provider locations that are not already STAR 3 or 4, however, and making progress, it is highly encouraged, noted, and very much supported. However, this is not an expectation that the ELRC will give priority to movement just because you are applying to become a PHL pre-K applicant. The ELRC will be completing designation activities based on priorities established by Octal. We will not accept any letters from quality coaches on your behalf, and STAR status and progress for all applicants will be verified by the ELRC. Unrated locations of existing STAR 3 and STAR 4 providers are also eligible to apply. If awarded funds, you must demonstrate a commitment to moving up and achieve STAR 3 within a required timeline. New sites may have a provisional DHS license due to being a newly licensed facility, but these sites will be expected to reach full licensure and STAR 3 within a required time frame. Additional new sites that may be awaiting provisional licensure, perhaps maybe you underwent renovation or construction, will not receive a contract and cannot proceed with enrolling children if the provisional license is not obtained by July 1st, 2024. Those sites will also be expected to reach STAR 3 within a required time frame. Application acknowledgement. This application is for a competitive bid for grants that will be awarded based on the criteria described in this presentation. Providers, you as applicant must acknowledge that this application is strictly for the purpose of gaining knowledge of services and expertise available, and this is not a commitment or a promise of a service award from the intermediary. If the intermediary chooses to award a contract, it will be awarded to the applicant whose proposal is most advantageous to the city and in the city's best interests. And now I'll turn it over to my colleague Theo, who will be discussing funding priorities.
Thanks, Brittany. Hi, everyone. I'm sorry that you can't see me. My camera is not working at the moment, but I will be going over the funding priorities and the selection criteria. So funding decisions will be prioritized by 3 tiers. These factors were selected in part due to recommendations from a 2022 report from Pillars Research and Strategy that identified strategies for how PHLprek could expand to best fit the needs of Philadelphia's children and families. So Tier 1 is provider locations contracted with PHLprek for the current program year. These locations may request the same allocation as FY24 or a change in allocation. Seats may be reduced or not renewed with current providers in cases where providers are not in good standing or have compliance issues at the time of application. Examples include vacancies of 10 or more PHLprek seats, corrective action plans, or notices of default. If awarded seats and the program reaches full enrollment with a waitlist, a program may request additional seats to be considered if seats need to be reallocated during the year. The next priority under Tier 1 is provider locations that were pre-qualified or waitlisted for the current program year and that participate in a pre-qualified provider orientation session with the Spark Quality Support Center before the application deadline. Pre-qualified locations in priority zip codes that have achieved a minimum of *3 will be prioritized. Tier 2 is based on priority zip codes and star level, and we'll talk more about priority zip codes in the next slide. Prioritizing *3 and *4 providers in priority zip codes, and then *1 or *2 providers in priority zip codes. And Tier 3 is other locations not meeting Tier 1 or Tier 2 and will include the following in no particular order. So these include family childcare providers, providers serving dual language learners, providers with multiple public preschool funding streams, and providers serving infants and toddlers. And please note this group is listed to promote continuity of care. PHLprek funds cannot be used for infants and toddlers. Providers offering non-traditional hours. And please note again, this group is listed to promote continuity of care. PHLprek funds cannot be used outside of PHLprek hours, and then also star level. So for priority zip codes, in an effort to ensure PHLprek seats are distributed equitably, OCF's Performance Management and Technology Division analyzed existing data to assess need at the zip code level. Please note that OCF reserves the right to consider other factors in conjunction with the priority zip code data in determining whether a location would be considered for future PHLprek funding. So there are 16 priority zip codes this year, and the analysis looked at population, poverty, early childhood risk factors, and publicly funded high-quality seats. The analysis identified the 16 priority zip codes that satisfied at least one of the following factors: a low number of publicly funded pre-K seats per child, a high number of children with 2+ risk factors without high-quality public pre-K seats, and a high number of children in poverty without high-quality public pre-K seats. This information is included in the application documents for reference and will also be in the slides we send out in our weekly update. Okay, so now I'm going to go over selection criteria for PHLprek. So the ability or capacity to meet PHLprek requirements, the prior experience of applicant and staff, the ability to meet the needs of target zip codes and vulnerable populations, demonstrated efficiency in business practices, and the benefit of promoting long-term competitive development and allocation of experience to new or small businesses, including those owned by minorities or people with disabilities or by women. Selection criteria also includes the ability to utilize funds appropriately and in support of the PHLprek program goals, complying with all city vendor requirements, a valid Pennsylvania DHS or PDE license in good standing or license through alternative pathways with STARS designation. Ability to show that the requirements of the program are well understood. For example, a staffing plan demonstrates the ability to accommodate the required seats with staff meeting the PHLprek education requirements. Selection criteria also includes having the availability of vacant seats not occupied by a child currently being funded through another source. PHL pre-K funding is intended to create new preschool slots and have the license capacity for the number of slots requested, and the slot request does not exceed 75% of licensed capacity. Application questions are due to PHMC by December 12th, and you can send them to the PHL pre-K inbox, which is phlprek@phmc.org. And the answers to those questions will be posted on the website. Due to the city's procurement process, we will not be able to answer individual questions after this date. So now we're going to take a quick break. If anybody has any questions, feel free to put them in the chat.
Don't see any questions so far, but if you do have any, make sure to put them in the chat. We can get to any along the way. Okay, why don't we move on to the next section, but please, if you have any questions, the application is out.
Oh, we have some questions.
There we go. There's the application. The application can be found on the PHL pre-K website. So the application is out. If the sites are not in priority zip codes, will they still qualify? Yet you're still eligible to apply. There are many different factors that go into the decision making to award slots. Priority zip codes is not the only factor. Is there a minimum number of seats in order to qualify? No, you do not have to request a minimum number of seats, or you do not have to have a minimum number of seats to apply. So if you're in a certain zip code that you didn't see on the priority zip code list, that does not mean you are not eligible to apply. So any zip code, if you're in any zip code, you are eligible to apply. Funding is based on many different factors. One would be the priority zip codes, but it all depends on what the application pool looks like, how many providers are in those zip codes. There are just many different factors that go into the decision-making process. We do not have any more application information sessions next week. Our last application information session for new providers is tomorrow. The renewals application information sessions have passed. If you have any folks that missed this session, we will be posting the slides and the recordings on the PHL pre-K website. That's the same as the application link that we sent there. So those should be up on the website by probably early next week. Okay, I think there's a question about like a specific zip code. So there were many different factors that went into looking at the analysis of zip codes. It was based on population, poverty, early childhood risk factors, and publicly funded high quality seats. So you can take a look further. There's more information in those application materials to understand more about what went into choosing those priority zip codes. Okay, so there is a new early learning center with a provisional license with no stars. Are we still eligible to apply? So if you have a, as we just mentioned in the slide, about unrated locations. So unrated locations of existing star 3 and 4 providers are eligible to apply. If you do not have a star 3 or 4 within your legal entity and are unrated, then you are not eligible to apply. And you put the location of where the questions are due again. Oh, so the PHL pre-K application. Put that in the chat for folks. Okay. Are there considerations for centers that already have a wait list in a zip code that is not prioritized? I don't think there's an opportunity to put the wait list in the application. Is there such a thing as collaboration? I'm not sure what that refers to, if you're talking about collaboration on the application itself or collaboration with providers, if you could expand a little bit on that. Okay, well, we want to make sure we get time to go through all the materials, so please continue to keep putting information, your questions in the chat, and we can try to get to as many as we can along the way. Okay, so the next section is around performance expectations. So let me drop this in the chat as well. So I just dropped in the chat the FY25 PHL pre-K performance expectations. Taking the time to review this with you all today so that you have an understanding of what you will be responsible if you're awarded PHL pre-K seats. All PHL pre-K providers will be expected to provide certain services and will be monitored on their performance. So to give a brief overview of expectations, they remain largely the same as FY24 if you're familiar with those. No major changes as of right now. So around performance expectations, PHL pre-K providers need to maintain safe and legal operations and their DHS compliance, follow CDC guidelines following the end of the COVID-19 emergency, provide overall program quality, maintain good standing in stars, and be a star 3 or 4, get to a star 3 or 4 within the program year if not already there. Conduct marketing and recruitment to maintain 100% enrollment. Deliver quality, developmentally appropriate practices using the required curriculum and tools or submitting for waivers. So the developmental screening tool is Ages and Stages Questionnaire, the 3rd edition. And Ages and Stages Questionnaire, Social Emotional. Our curriculum is Teaching Strategies Creative Curriculum for Preschool, and our Outcomes Assessment tool is Teaching Strategies Gold Online. You'll need to ensure adequate program dosage, that's those 5.5 hours for 180 days, and recruit and retain qualified staff that meet PHL pre-K requirements. Next is comprehensive service expectations. So you'll need to support family need for early learning and childcare services, follow appropriate health and nutrition standards, partner with families and caregivers to support children's learning and development, and support kindergarten transition. Reporting expectations. So PHL pre-K providers need to keep accurate records and enter data in defined databases. So that's things like the PD registry, Childware, and Teaching Strategies Gold Online, just to name a few. Engage in the project and continuous improvement of the system. So that means things like participating in the PHL pre-K external evaluation and complying with monitoring requests as well. So fiscal expectations, PHL pre-K providers are expected to utilize funds appropriately and complete various reporting requirements, including expense reporting, external reviews, if that's applicable, and monthly invoicing as well. And finally, in terms of general provisions, providers should maintain status as a quality business partner and comply with policies and requirements of the intermediary and city, state, and federal government. Okay, so now we'll review questions you'll be asked in the PHL pre-K application. And we ask all these questions for a reason, and that's because they relate to what providers will need to do if they become PHL pre-K providers if awarded funds. So as we go through this section, you should be thinking about what your current practices are and where you might need to make changes if awarded a PHL pre-K contract. And Brittany will start you off in this section.
Sure thing. So first we'll start with program quality and operations. On the application, you'll be asked about your star level and any other accreditations. You'll be asked about your site characteristics. This may include operating hours, services you offer, and whether you have outdoor play space. And you will also be asked if you prepare food on site and whether you participate in child and adult care food program, which is the CACFP. Because if awarded, you'll need to maintain safe and legal program operations, which is a DHS compliance, and you'll need to provide overall program quality. You'll need to have good standing in stars for current star 3 and star 4 providers, as well as growth providers who may enter the PHL pre-K system with less than a star 3 will need to reach star 3 status within a required timeline. For appropriate health and nutrition standards, you don't have to be in CACFP, but is strongly encouraged. Enrollment eligibility. On the application, you'll be asked about your current enrollment and funding streams, how many PHL pre-K slots you're requesting, and the space available to accommodate these slots. Because if awarded, you'll need to have vacant seats not currently funded through another funding source, including private pay, CCW, pre-K counts, or Head Start. The goal of PHL pre-K is to create new seats. PHL pre-K slots should not exceed 75% of your license capacity. Right, so next we have enrollment and attendance. On the application, you'll be asked to complete an enrollment and recruitment plan that outlines the activities you'll conduct at least from May to September to recruit families, as well as your current enrollment and intake process of activities. Because if awarded, you'll need to conduct marketing and recruitment to ensure eligible families receive the services they need. Also, you'll be needing to maintain 100% enrollment with a wait list, as well as have monitored regular attendance to ensure children receive adequate program dosage and provide resources to help families when absences are due to hardships. Developmentally appropriate practices. On the application, you will be asked about your developmental screening tool, your curriculum, outcomes assessment tool that you currently use. You do not need to currently use the required PHL pre-K tools because if awarded, you'll need to be able to deliver high quality, developmentally appropriate educational services. You'll need to commit to using the required curriculum and tools or submit a waiver for an alternative tool. As Carrie mentioned earlier, the tools that the PHL pre-K are using our developmental screening tool is Ages and Stages Questionnaire, 3rd edition, as well as Ages and Stages Questionnaire, Social Emotional. The curriculum is Teaching Strategies, Creative Curriculum for Preschool, and our Outcomes Assessment tool is Teaching Strategy Gold Online. Now, we mentioned a bunch of different items that come with data entry and reporting requirements in various databases. So now we'll discuss data responsibility. On the application, you will be asked what databases you currently use and who supports data entry at your organization. This is because if awarded, you'll need to and be required to enter data to multiple systems. This includes the PD registry, your outcomes assessment in TSG, and child enrollment in our childware system. You'll be expected to keep accurate records and data entry in all those defined databases, as well as meet required deadlines and checkpoints. You will be monitored on your performance. Also want to ensure that you're allocating your resources, such as time, staff, and technology, to ensure data entry requirements and timeliness is met. Now, Carrie will continue on with staffing information.
Thanks, Brittany. Okay, so on the application, you'll be asked to complete a staff qualifications table with information about the staff who will be in PHLprek classrooms if you're awarded funding. If you don't have staff that meet requirements, you can indicate that as well in the application. You'll also be asked about the stability of current staff, staff turnover, and staff benefits offered. Because if you're awarded PHLprek slots, you'll need to recruit and retain qualified staff that meet PHLprek credential requirements. We'll go through those specifics in the next slide. And waivers are available if staff meet eligibility requirements. Also for PHLprek providers, excuse me, any classroom with more than 10 children need to have one lead teacher and one assistant teacher. And you'll need to document staff and credentials in the PD registry. And all staff must have a verified career pathway level. So here's information about the PHLprek staff credentials. The requirements are aligned with the PA career pathway, which we can send out the link with these follow-up materials. In the box on the left-hand side, you'll see the PHLprek staff credential requirements by staff. So director administrators, family childcare owner operators, and lead teachers need to have a level B, and assistant teachers need to have a level A. On the right side, you'll see requirements for what is required in the career pathway for each level, A and B. So staff must meet one of those requirements in order to be at that level. So for level A, they need to hold a current CDA certificate for the Council for Professional Recognition, have a current school age credential, or have 9 ECE credits. For a level B, they need to have one of these bullets, a regionally accredited ECE focused ASB or AST, an associate's in ECE, an associate or bachelor's in a related field with 18 ECE credits, an associate or bachelor's in an unrelated field with 30 ECE credits, or an elementary ed degree with 12 ECE credits. And then on the application, you'll also be asked about financial management systems you have in place, accounting software, in internal and external financial staff. And you'll also be asked to provide financial reports. So income statement, balance sheet, and operating budget, or a recent audit or taxes filed. Because if you're awarded PHLprek funding, you'll need to have financial management systems in place that allow you to track revenue and expenses and produce financial reports. It's highly encouraged to use accounting software and an accountant or bookkeeper. PHLprek providers need to spend funds according to approved program budgets. They need to complete mid and end of year fiscal expense reports, do external reviews by certified public accountants if they receive a certain level of city funding, and comply with the Philadelphia's 21st century minimum wage and benefits standard, which is at $15.71 this year. So the amount of seats requested in the application does influence fiscal reporting requirements. So it's also important to reflect on your practices that you have in place now to meet fiscal expectations. So we can stop again for any questions that we have. Someone did, I think I missed the question. I was asking about if all new providers are waitlisted. And that answer is no. We did talk about a wait list for folks. Those are pre-qualified folks from this program year. They are allowed to, the pre-qualified or waitlisted folks are allowed to submit in the new provider location, in the renewal provider location application. But not all new providers are waitlisted. Okay, so please, let's move on and please put any more questions in the chat. We can get to them at the end of this session. So here are some more instructions on completing the application in the web platform. We will also go through a demo of the application itself to give you a better idea about what it looks like. So Brittany will take us to start in this section.
Thank you. And here's just a picture as a reminder that we showed you in the beginning of this presentation. This is how you'll be able to access the application through the website. All applications must be submitted via the web-based system. The link can also be found on the PHLprek website. You'll scroll down to how to apply. You'll click on the links and under the submitted application in the web platform. You'll need to complete an application for each site that you are applying for. Application language access supports. The application is available in English and in Spanish. Applicants who are not proficient in English may request a coach and/or interpreter to help them complete the application. These are by appointment, and you should email the PHLprek at phmc.org to request these supports by December 12th, 2023. Completing the application. Some tips that we want to provide is to ensure that you're giving yourself plenty of time. Do not wait until the last minute. Read all information before completing and submitting your application. Gather and complete all the documents you need for all your uploads. Read and reread your submission for accuracy, spelling, completeness. Please do not assume that the person reviewing your application knows about your program. There is no login for the website platform. However, you will be sent a link to the primary contact, which you will provide in the beginning of your application. All fields with an asterisk are going to be required. You'll receive a prompt if it's left blank, and you will not be able to move forward if you have any incompletes. As Theo will go over in more detail with the demo, we just wanted to highlight some features that you'll also see on the web platform. The next button advances you to the next page, but it does not save. Please press save to save. Any information entered in the application, and you can resume it at a later date. You will then be emailed a link to get back to the form. You can have multiple collaborators. Multiple people can edit the application as long as they have the link. However, the confirmation emails will only go to the primary contact that you provide in the beginning of the application. Pressing submit will submit the application. You may edit a submitted application up until the deadline, but the system will not allow you to submit after the deadline. The deadline again is January 22nd at noon. How to save and submit. Step 1, you'll begin your application. We advise that you save your progress throughout. As well, you will receive a link via email through every time you save. We want to encourage step 3 to submit prior to the deadline, January 22nd at noon. And once again, you can edit a submitted application until the deadline using the link that will come to the primary contact's email. Saving your progress. Again, there is no login. After you save, you will be sent a link. It will look and appear as above on the screen. And now Theo will start with the demonstration.
Thanks, Brittany. Yeah, so this is what the confirmation looks like. Upon successful submission of your application, you will receive a confirmation that your application was received. It will have your site name and address and a PDF copy of your submission. Please make sure to review that PDF for accuracy. And if you need to, you can go back into your submission to edit it up until the deadline. And that bottom arrow there shows where the link will be to edit your submission. So now I'm just going to go over the items in the application, and then I will open up the application and we can all go through it. So for the application, there will be instructions and kind of an introduction. You'll be asked to input legal entity information, the primary contact for the application, facility and site information. And just as a reminder, you can only add one site per application. There will be questions about your STAR level, license and accreditation, enrollment of children information, slots in classrooms. So that's how many slots you are requesting, and then recruitment and enrollment information. You'll also be asked questions about staffing, fiscal practices, developmentally appropriate practices, kindergarten transition, disclosures, supports, which will ask about any business supports that you might need, family demographics, data collection and responsibility, tax and regulatory compliance, and the required uploads. So here are the required uploads. It's mainly fiscal documents. And so it is the program documents as applicable. So that's the Department of Education license and the accreditation certificate. And then the fiscal documents are your current operating budget, the most recent audited financial report or filed tax form, income statement, and balance sheet. And those in the application, you will be given the option to either upload your own or there'll be a template. And I will show you that when we go through the demo. And if awarded seats, providers may be asked to submit additional documentation as part of the contracting process. You'll also be asked to complete these in the application, and to complete them, you'll need other information available so you can enter it. So it's the staff qualifications table. So there you will put in either current or prospective staff with their roles and their career pathway levels in the PD registry, an enrollment and recruitment plan. So that will list recruitment activities with their start and end dates, the person responsible for those activities and target enrollments, and your tax and regulatory status clearance statement. So for those, you will be asked for either for your EIN or your social security number, and then your Philadelphia business income receipts tax account number and your commercial activity license number if you have one. Specific questions about the application must be submitted by December 12th. To be included in the written response Q&A. Due to the city's procurement process, we will not be able to answer individual questions after this date. And if you have any technical issues or trouble with the application website, please email PHLprek@phmc.org and we will be happy to help you. Okay, so now I'm going to open up the application and we can all go through it together. So when you click that link that is on the website, this is where it will take you. This is just a demo, so I've unrequired all of the questions, but they will be required in the actual application. So this is the introduction. There are links here to the eligibility requirements and the PHLprek service and performance expectations. So here are instructions. It gives you information about applying and saving your submission, also about submitting it. And here's all the list of documents and templates that are embedded in the application. So the first part will be legal entity information. So it'll ask you for the legal entity name and the address, contact information. And this question I kept required so you can see when I click next what happens if you skip a required question. I also wanted to highlight that some of the questions, depending on how you answer them, other questions will populate. So for this question, is your organization owned by a minority? If you click yes, another question comes up. And then if you say that your organization is registered, it will ask you for your the entity that registered it. So just be aware that there might be more questions depending on how you answer some of them. So if we click next without answering this question, it highlights it in red, and so you can't move forward to the next page unless you answer all of the required questions. So the next part of the application asks you who is the primary contact. This person will get the confirmation emails and the link to edit the submission. You can have multiple people work on the same application sent through the link sent to that primary contact. And so if you were to save the application, this is what the pop-up looks like. This will be your link to go back into edit your submission. And if you had already put in the email address of your primary contact, their email address would pre-populate. You would just hit send, and then it would send them a link to go back into edit. So next, it will ask you for facility location information, so where the children will be served. So that's just some basic information, the site name, the MPI, the address, and then the site contact name, star level and license and accreditation information. So you'll pick your star level, national accreditation, and then if you have a PA Department of Education license, if you click yes on the last page of the application is required uploads, and so if you click yes to that question, there will be a place on the last page to upload it. Site characteristics, so child care service hours, what's offered at the site, enrollment of children. So you'll be asked about your enrollment and other revenue types or funding streams that you receive. And here is where it will ask you for the slots that you're requesting. So you'll put in how many slots and then how many classrooms you anticipate those seats to be distributed. And here's the recruitment and enrollment plan. So you will input activities, so the start date, a description of the activity, who's responsible for the activity, expected enrollments, and the activity end date. And so you can click here where it says click to add activity. You can click here, and so you can add as many activities as you would like into that table. You'll also be asked what activities are a part of your enrollment and intake process, and how are families notified that they have a place in your program. The next is staffing, the staff qualifications table. So you will put the position, whether they are a current employee or not. If you need to hire for a position under this current employee, you can just say no for the position. So if you need to hire a lead teacher, you would just put lead teacher, and then you would say no, and then you don't have to fill out the rest of this information. And you can, this is the same thing, you can click to add staff. So you can put in as many people as you would like. And then it just asks you down here more questions about your staff and what benefits you provide. The next is question about fiscal practices. So it asks you if your organization has a written set of accounting policies and procedures, what accounting software you use, how your expense statements are prepared. So here's it just asks you some fiscal questions. And here's the developmentally appropriate practices questions. So you will select the primary curriculum that's used at your location. If your teachers offer bilingual instruction, if you've offered remote learning at any point during the current school year, you'll select the developmental screenings that you use and the outcomes assessments. Next is kindergarten transition. So it will ask you questions about your kindergarten transition process. So if you coordinate with any of the following organizations and how you track kindergarten registration. And here are just some 3 disclosure questions that you'll answer. And here's the business support. So you'll select what business supports you would need to be successful in the PHL Pre-K program. So you can select multiple ones for this one. And then also program in what following areas would you like additional support. So you can select all that would apply. This is family demographics. So if you collect this information, we ask that you just select all that apply here as well. Data collection and responsibility. So what data systems you use and who supports the data entry. And then this is the contract signature information. So this would be the person who would sign the notice of awards and the contract if awarded seats. And if there were multiple people, you can click again here to add staff. Okay, so next is the tax and regulatory status and clearance statement of applicants. So you will put in your contact information, and then you will specify if you use an EIN or a social security number. So when you click these, it will ask you for that number. And then you will fill out if you have a business income and receipts tax account number or a commercial activity license number. And if you don't, you can just state none. We will run tax compliance checks on the EIN or social security number that you provide. If you become a PHL Pre-K provider, we do run monthly tax compliance checks. So the next part is the income statement. So it will ask you if you want to upload your income statement or complete the template. If you click upload your income statement, there will be a place to upload it right here. And if you click complete it, then the template populates. So you will put your fiscal year start date, and then you can fill this out with these amounts, and it will calculate the total here for you. So you would just fill this out if you wanted to use our template. And the same thing with the balance sheet. You can upload your own, or you can complete the template, and the template will auto-populate here. And so you can just fill out this information. After this is the required uploads. So everyone has to upload their most recent audit or tax filing and their organizational budget. Based on your selections in the application, you might be asked to upload other documents here as well. And then this last page is the acknowledgement and attestations. So you will just read this, and then your legal entity name, the authorized signatory, and then you would just sign it and date it. Just as a reminder, please continuously save. And then every time you save, you will get a link to go back and edit. And submitting your application is the only way for us to receive it. So please remember to submit it when you are finished. If you hit submit, this is what will pop up, and this is very similar to the confirmation email that you will receive too. So you will be able to click here to edit your submission, which you can do up until the deadline, and you can edit it even after you've submitted it. And this is the PDF that will show everything that you've filled out. It'll show all the questions on your application. Please make sure you read that to make sure that you've answered everything and you've answered everything how you want to. Yeah, just lastly, please, you can edit until the deadline. And once the deadline passes, the system will not let you back into your application. So that is it. If you do have any technical difficulty, again, with the application, please email us and we will be happy to assist you.
Okay, thanks, Thea. We have a few more questions in the chat box that we wanted to get to. So someone is asking, would that apply to a private academic school teacher's license? I think you were asking that when we were mentioning the Pennsylvania Department of Education license. That is in reference to a license that would be for your location, not for teachers. The next question, when will awards be notified? So we expect to provide initial notifications in early March. Are providers required to take all scholars who apply to the program, or do they have the option to select scholars? So PHL pre-K, all age eligible PHL pre-K children should be accepted into the program. Are there any other questions?
It looks like I got a question. What do you pick in a situation where the center is jointly owned by a minority, a woman, and co-owned by a male? Can you still pick yes for that part?
Yes, I believe so. Our FY24 family applications asking for income. I don't have that information at this time. Okay, so why don't we go to that last slide? So again, just wanted to make sure everybody marks their calendars for these dates and to continue to check the phlprek.org website for updates. Applications again are live now. They were released earlier this week, so you can go ahead and get started. Remember, any further questions or requests for language access supports, please get that to the PHLprek inbox by December 12th. And the deadline to submit applications is January 22nd at noon. So we have a question, if it's your first year, what tax documents are needed? So you will be required to upload something in all of those financial documents section. If you do not have all of those documents left, if you have not been open for a year, you can just write a note telling us when you opened and why you don't have those documents. But everybody should have a current operating budget. Okay, if you think of any other questions, please be sure to email us at phlprek at phmc.org. And if not, and again, these sessions will be posted on the PHLprek website, so check back for the slides and the recordings as well. Thanks all for joining.